All right, could be going live in just a few moments. Talk about we're gonna recap the weekend, and then we got Invicta FC 50 tonight, which get time to do the preview for it last night when I usually do. So we're gonna do this pre-fight show, and gonna go and watch the fights, and then after the fights, we'll be back on to do a recap afterwards. So we've already got a couple people in, so we're gonna go ahead and go live. All right, welcome back to WMMA Now with your host Chuck Stevenson. Welcome to the weekend recap for what was the weekend? November 11th to the 13th of 2022, and the pre-fight show for Invicta FC 50. We had some good action this past weekend. A lot of good action. I liked every fight that I've seen so far or had a chance to watch all the way through. I really liked, and I think it's going to keep staying that way for tonight, because I think we got a lot of good stuff going on with as far as Invicta goes, and it's going to be a good night. So let's go ahead and get into the weekend's action. So first up, we had deep 1/10 impact. We had one ladies bout, microweight championship. Saori Oshima defeated Mizuki Furuse via submission due to arm lock, 1 minute and 24 seconds. Oshima climbed to 10-3. Furuse fell to 9-10. This was a fast fight. I mean, what does it say? 1 minute and 24 seconds. Oshima came firing out of the corner. She knew exactly what she wanted to do, which was get Furuse to the ground. Now, Furuse, for her credit, started pumping out the jab right away and throwing up front kicks right up the middle. Oshima was not about to be deterred and just got into the clinch and got the takedown. From there, it was just a matter of time. At this point, Furuse is just not on the level of Oshima. Might never get there. Oshima is super tiny. I mean, she's only, I know she's sub 5 feet. She's 4'11", 149 centimeters. But she is an absolute attack dog in the cage. She is just going to keep attacking, and chaining together submission attempts. And like I know in Ryzen, up kicks were allowed. She was really good with his up kicks, but she was on top the entire time here. And she didn't get the for her first armbar attempt in the fight, but she didn't give up. Went for a second armbar attempt, she went to the scarf hold. Got Furuse into the scarf hold, trapped the arm between her legs, and started just little like ground and pound. But as she was getting this little tiny, just like type of punches, started applying pressure to that arm, and it just Mizuki Furuse was just absolutely forced to tap. Saori Oshima is one of my favorite fighters to watch right now because, like I said, she's tiny, but she's just an absolute attack dog, and the way that she just chains together attacks is an absolute joy to watch. Just gotta watch her in action. Not sure when she'll be back, but hopefully soon. She's got a lot of stuff going on, so it's when we do get to watch her fight as often as we do, it's a treat. Hopefully she'll be back in action soon. But this is her first title defense of the deep microweight title, which she won back in 2020. Just been doing a lot of stuff since then, including winning the Deep Jewels Atomweight Championship. For Mizuki Furuse, what is she now? She's sunk back below 500. She's now 9-10. 21 years old, and she has 19 fights. That's a lot of fights. She needs to take a little bit of a break right now. Like, the longest she's gone without fighting was a year, and that's because she got pregnant. I think she needs to take a break and just really take her time and work on improvements in the gym and just work on things. I think, for some people, fighting a lot is good for them. For others, not so much. And I think with Feruse, it's fighting as often as she does just hasn't helped her. Then we move on to UFC 281. The first ladies fight was in the strawweight division. Karolina Kowalkiewicz defeated Silvana Gomez-Juarez via unanimous decision. Kowalkiewicz climbed to 14-7. Silvana Gomez-Juarez fell to 11-5. I thought this was a good fight. It wasn't like great. It wasn't a phenomenal fight. It wasn't, technically amazing or anything. This was just a good, fun, scrappy fight. And that's what these ladies came out here to do, was scrap. And the Kowalkiewicz, she had some good ground control in the first round, which a little bit of a repeat from her fight with Felice Herrig, took the fight to the ground and showed off her ground skills, which we never really got to see a whole lot in the past during her tenure in the UFC. But we did get to see that with this fight. And then it was some back and forth action in the second round. I gave the second round to Gomez-Juarez. Got a real nice hit on Kowalkiewicz too. And I was worried as a Kowalkiewicz fan. I was worried about this fight because I was thinking to myself, Gomez-Juarez cracks. I mean, she has legit knockout power in her hands. And I was worried that, if Kowalkiewicz, she hasn't been the same fighter ever since that fight against the knockout loss to Jessica Andrade. But the one time Gomez-Juarez was able to get a good solid hit on her, Kowalkiewicz, was able to absorb it and keep going forward. Then in the third round, Kowalkiewicz definitely edged that one out. I thought she just edged it out, got the win, got the decision. I think all three scores were 29-28. Let me check real quick. Go to MMADecisions.com. Yeah, all three judges were 29-28. So they probably all gave it to. We don't have the scores up yet. Looks like. It. Oh, there we go. So so two of the judges gave the second round to Gomez-Juarez. One judge gave her the third round, which is interesting because they didn't give her the second round. And that was Gomez-Juarez's strongest round. Not sure what to think about that one. But it was a good fight for Karolina. She's 2-0 after a really long skid of 5 or 6 fights. Thought she was on her way out. And she even said, leading into this fight, that after her last fight, she had thought about retiring. And then she got into the gym and started working out and just changed her mind, I guess. But if she's going to continue to fight, she's 37 years old, and she's not going to be a contender anymore. She's obviously way past, beyond title contention. If Kowalkiewicz is going to keep fighting, this is the level she needs to. She's unranked. I think she's only going to really be competitive at this point against unranked fighters. And she can't quite take punches like she used to. Definitely not. Her style for pretty much all of her career has been, she could absorb punishment and wade through it to get in close and get her work done within range. That's not going to cut it against the top level fighters anymore. So if she's going to continue to fight, she needs to fight at this level against the Silvana Gomez-Juarez's, the unranked fighters in that strawweight division. For Gomez-Juarez, I believe she has officially been cut from the UFC, which makes sense. I believe she is 1-3 now in the division. Yep, 1-3. Lost her first 2 fights to Lupita Godinez and then Vanessa Demopoulos. Won her third fight against Lian Na, and then now loses to Kovalkiewicz. This is her only loss by decision, but her other 2 losses were to armbar in the first round. I guess that one first round knockout victory against Leon now is not enough to save her, so she is gone. Got Easy E in the chat. The chat is open, by the way. Says, I thought Carolina was finished after that bad eye injury she sustained. Yeah, she had a broken orbital against Yan Xiaonan. She's also learned that she can't bang with these younger fighters anymore. Always liked her. Yeah, she can't just bang and stand and bang anymore. Thankfully, Gomez Juarez, she cracks. She's not young, though. She's also 37. And that's a shame, too. You know, Savannah Gomez Juarez is a good striker. She just doesn't really have a ground game going for her. And she's one of those fighters, like, had she gotten into the UFC when they first introduced the strawweight division, she could have been halfway decent. Like, most of the fighters at that time were not grapplers. It was almost primarily a striking division. And the few grapplers were able to largely succeed because of that. And I think that had Gomez Juarez been able to get into the UFC back then, she'd have done a lot better. Then we move on to the second fight of the night, which was in the flyweight division. Erin Blanchfield defeated Molly McCann via submission due to Kimura. 3 minutes, 37 seconds of the first round. Blanchfield climbed to 10-1. McCann fell to 13-5. Ooh, I thought Blanchfield was going to rip her arm straight out of the socket. Hold on a second. All right. Dog's getting yelled at, so I had to mute for a second. Yeah, I thought McCann was going to get her arm ripped out. I thought she was not going to tap. Coming into this fight, I thought this should be Blanchfield's win here. I thought it was her fight to lose. The one worry I had was that McCann would just come out and be able to straight up absolutely blitz Blanchfield due to the speed advantage. Didn't bother Blanchfield, though. Blanchfield was quick to get that takedown, and from there it was over. Like, I knew, like, as soon as Blanchfield could get McCann down, as soon as it happened, it was a wrap from there. And it basically was. I mean, Blanchfield just absolutely had her way with McCann on the ground. Took a while to get the Kimura. McCann's obviously, she's very tough. She's durable. But, man, she was squeezing her head with the legs and just absolutely cranking that arm. It was nasty. Like, I know I keep repeating this, but I thought she was going to have to rip the arm off. I thought we were going to see a dislocation or a broken arm. For some reason, UFC.com doesn't want to work. All right, whatever. I was trying to look up the rankings because I think Blanchfield has now entered the top 10. But we'll see in a second here. If I can get it to work. But maybe not. Anyway, Blanchfield is definitely one of the young guns in this division. I think she's only 23 at this moment. And I think she has a bright future ahead of her. Like, really looking forward to seeing what she does. For McCann, how old is she? I know she's in her 30s. She's 32. I honestly don't see her getting any better. She's like Kovalkiewicz. She can compete at that bottom of the division, but as soon as she takes a step up, she's going to fold. That's all there is to it. Like, she can fight. She can win as long as she has as long as the fight favors her stylistically. If she can fight slow, plodding non-strikers or slow, plodding strikers who are unathletic, she's going to do okay. As soon as she fights someone who's actually a decent fighter, she's going to be done. I mean, you look at the fighters that she's beaten. Okay, she beat Priscilla Cachoeira. Again, slow, plodding, unathletic. Ariane Lipski, fairly slow and plodding. Diana Belbita, not very good, and is now down at strawweight and having trouble there. She beat Jeon Kim. Jeon Kim is one of the slowest strikers in the division and is one of those fighters who is content to sit back and counter and let Molly McCann pressure her forward. And that's what gave that win to McCann at that time. Then she beat Luana Carolina. Again, a slow-moving, unathletic striker. And then Hannah Goldie, who's not even a striker, has a lot of muscles and not much else. So it's like she does okay as long as you're giving her fights that are stylistically made for her. But as soon as you give her someone who's going to give her trouble, she's going to fold. And she folded against, so far, Tala Santos, Lara Procopio, and then now Erin Blanchfield. She's not going to be able to compete, really, with anyone in the top 15. And she got ranked based off of those 3 wins, because that tends to happen in the women's divisions, but she's not going to beat anybody ranked, I don't think. At this point, you got to... A lot of people are saying, oh, I think they just wanted to build Blanchfield up, but Blanchfield wasn't getting any attention. There was no focus on her up to the fight this week. The UFC matchmakers are really good at what they're doing, and they know how to build a fighter. But sometimes I think they buy into the own hype that they help to create. And I think that's what happened with this matchup here. They thought McCann would be able to maybe get past Blanchfield, or at least Blanchfield would be a stiff test, like a winnable fight for McCann, but that would, test her. And this was way too much, obviously. So Blanchfield's going to move on in the division, and McCann's moving back down. Easy E says, I've had enough with Molly McCann. Emphasize McCann. She was just a victim of the UFC trying to rejuvenate the UK fan base. She's low level, though. I agree. She was mostly riding on the popularity of Patty Pimblett. They're best buds. And she was riding that popularity. And I don't blame her for riding the popularity. If you can attach yourself that way and be seen as like the sidekick, even if you're not as good, if you can be seen as like that sidekick and get popular because of that, might as well do it. There's no harm in it. And I mean, she got herself like $1 million sponsorship or multi-million-dollar sponsorship from Barstool Sports because of it. I don't blame her. But yeah, she's not that good. So we move on to the co-main event Strawweight Championship. Let's see. Weili Zhang defeated Carla Esparza via submission due to a rear naked choke from the crucifix. Minute and 5 seconds of the second round. Zhang climbed to 22-3. Esparza fell to 19-7. I don't think too many people are surprised by this result. If anybody is surprised by this result. I thought the fight was actually good, though, while it lasted. It was a decent fight. I thought Esparza gave a good of account of herself in the first round. She was able to stop or back up Zhang and stop the momentum with some jabs. I mean, still got outstruck, but she landed some nice jabs that, halted Zhang's momentum. And then as Zhang was able to open up more, the jab wasn't working as much. Esparza went to the ground. Gave up some ground control at first, if I remember correctly, and then Esparza did have some ground control and a little bit of ground and pound of her own. And honestly, it looked like Esparza might have ended up taking the round, but then Zhang got that control in the last 35 35, maybe 40 seconds. Got some top control and some ground and pound of her own. And ended up winning the round, but it was a competitive first round. I don't think anyone can say that first round can deny that first round was competitive. If they deny it, they're lying to themselves. It was a good first round. Second round, Esparza knew she couldn't stand and trade with Zahn at that point. Went for the takedown, and got to give Zahn credit. She chained from the sprawl, took the back, or tried to take the back. Esparza kind of like crowed up. Thought she was going to be able to like roll out from under Zahn and get a nice switch or something. But no, Zahn was able to trap the arm, and that trapped right arm of Esparza that you see right there, that was the key to the end. Esparza couldn't get that arm out, had Zahn trapped on her back. You know, she had the wrist control. You can see she had that wrist control and was fighting the choke with one arm trapped and one arm worried about the wrist control. It was a matter of time until that right arm of Zahn was able to tighten up that choke. Once she did it, Zahn was able to give up that wrist control, and or they were fighting for wrist control in this picture, but that's what they were doing. But the arm's already under the chin. Zahn just really had to tighten it up and bring the other arm up and get it, and secured the rear naked choke. Really nice job from Weili Zhang. Full credit to her. Very nice win. Excellent win. And hey, she finally got a finish on U.S. soil. You know, that was a big question a lot of people had, was that she could not finish on U.S. soil. It's like she could only get finishes in Asia. Here she is getting a submission win right here in New York City, or right here in the U.S. in New York City. So nice job there. Good fight while it lasted. Like I said, I enjoyed it thoroughly. Was hoping for Carla, but like I said, you know, in my preview, I'm cheering for Carla, but I mean, I figured Zahn would win, and she did. Big question here is now, where do they go? Neither fighter really took any damage in this fight, so I think they could make a quick turnaround. I think Esparza wants to take some time off before her next fight, and I think Zahn wants to wait until like mid-year for UFC is supposed to be going back to China like sometime next summer. So we might not see these two until like midway through the next year, which sucks, really sucks. But most likely Zahn is going to end up facing maybe Amanda Lemos, unless Lemos brain farts and gives up a shot at the title to take a stay busy fight, and then loses that. Basically someone does to her what she did to Marina Rodriguez. Of course, who else would there be up there? Whatever. Let me see the rankings. I'll pull them up on the iPad. Unless it's okay. It's most likely going to be Lemos next for Zahn. She's at number 3. Esparza's at 1. Namajunas is at 2. Who knows what Namajunas is going to do? And I don't think they're going to give her a title shot after that fight against Esparza. Andrade is fighting up at flyweight in January, and Rodriguez just lost at 5. So yeah, it's most likely going to be Lemos, unless Lemos takes a stay busy fight in the meantime between now and June or July, and then someone does to her what she just did to Rodriguez. For Esparza, they're definitely not going to remake that a third fight with Namajunas. Andrade's busy. Marina Rodriguez did call her out for a rematch. And if Rodriguez does well against number 1 ranked Esparza, boom, that lines her up for a title shot. So they could do that as well. But Esparza, she's another one of those fighters. It's like she's how old now? She's well into her 30s. She's been fighting for years now, over a decade. She's 35 years old. Made her debut back in 2010, so she's been fighting for almost 13 years now. She might be on her way out. Who knows? I mean, she already got the gold again. And she might just satisfy herself with that rather than another run at the title. Because knowing the UFC, they're going to make her fight a gauntlet to get back to the title. And she might just decide, yeah, I'm just going to fight down now and just fight for, get as much money as I can out of the sport. That might be what she does. Who knows? I mean, I'm not a mind reader. We'll see, though. Easy E says, Whaley's willingness to scramble was everything. I agree. Her scrambles were absolutely on point on Saturday night. I think Carla would have beaten her. Whaley just would not concede on the ground. Oh, otherwise, I think Carla would have beaten her. Yeah, if Whaley wasn't so fast to scramble, Carla would have had an easier time getting her down. But Whaley's ability to scramble was the key to winning in that fight, which we hadn't seen her in scrambles like that, at least not in the UFC. So that was the game changer, was her improving in the scrambling. And that, I think, largely comes down to, a lot of people are going to say train with Cejudo at Fight Ready. I'm not sure how much time she spent at Fight Ready, if at all, for this camp. I know she went to Bangtown Muay Thai again and was training with the Hickmans, and they're good wrestling instructors. And then I know she was at Syndicate for the final part of the camp, which, hey, she went to Syndicate before the fight, and then I don't want to say she didn't spend her full camp there, so I'm not ready to say that curse is broken, but it definitely didn't have a hold on her, the Syndicate curse. But yeah, she spent some time at Bangtown with the Hickmans, and they are very good wrestling instructors. So definitely worked a lot on the scrambles with her. All right, so that was, one more fight for this past weekend. ARC number 8 was in Seoul on Sunday. Had one ladies bout, 121-pound catchweight bout. Yoo Jung Kim defeated Eun Jung Lee via submission due to rear naked choke. 2 minutes, 8 seconds of the third round. Kim climbed to 2-1. Lee fell to 2-4. I haven't gotten to watch this full fight yet. I've only seen highlights, but dude, look how I thought it was a fast tap out watching the highlights. But because it seemed like as soon as Kim got the choke, Lee was very fast tap out, or as soon as she turned it over, Lee was tapping out fast. But I mean, you look at how tight she had that choke there. It's easy to see why. But I haven't had a chance to watch the full fight yet. Easy E says, I think Whaley trained scrambling exclusively for the Carla fight. No need to train on the feet. They clearly know Esparza is not outstriking anyone. Well, I mean, she's not going to neglect her striking, but yeah, you're going to face a wrestler. You want to work on the wrestling primarily. Anyway, let's move on. We got to talk about Invicta FC number. Where is the damn? Hold on a second. I tried to rush things tonight, and it didn't work out good. You know what? Facebook's making me mad. 1 second, guys. All right, we've got Invicta FC number 50 tonight in about a half an hour. So we're going to do a little bit of pre-show and a little bit of preview for this. We've got a 4-woman, 1-night tournament for the vacant Strawweight Championship. Now, unlike Invicta's previous tournaments, where there were 8 women, you fought a single round quarterfinal, a single round semifinal, and then a final. This tournament's different. And I got to give my hats off to the Colorado Athletic Commission. They're willing to do things differently. This tournament is only 2 rounds, semifinals and final, but each fight is up to 3 5-minute rounds. So it's basically a regular fight, take a break, and then you get the final. So the winner of this tournament could potentially, or the 2 finalists could potentially fight a full hour total fight time tonight. This is going to be really interesting to watch, especially because look where it's at. Denver, Colorado, Mile High City. Cardio is getting tested tonight. That's for sure. Cardio is going to get tested. So let's go ahead and get into this. So first fight is going to be in the flyweight division. Now, there was a bunch of changes to this card. Melissa Odessa was supposed to fight she's supposed to fight Sharon Jacobson in a alternate bout for the tournament. But Jacobson's out, and Elise Pone came in late notice, and the bout is now going to be at flyweight. Let's take a look at the stats on this one. Bella Bestia coming in at 3-2. Elise the Peace coming in at 1-1. Odessa coming in off of a decision loss to Isis Verbeek 3 months ago for Invicta. That was a good fight, too. That was a darn good fight. And Elise Pone's coming off a loss as well to Helen Peralta 9 months ago. Both around the same age. Pone is 1 year the elder at 37 to 36 for Parker. Let's see. Big height difference here. 5'8", 173 centimeters to 5'4", 163 centimeters. Nice advantage there for Elise Pone. And that extends to the reach as well. 70 inches, 178 centimeters to 63 inches, 160 centimeters. So I'm going to go with Melissa Odessa for this one. Pone is coming in late notice. And I gotta be honest, she is not nearly as aggressive as Odessa is. Odessa is going to want to come forward. She's going to want to land heavy hands. And I think Pone is going to crumble. Now, Pone, in her first fight, she was able to turn it on all of a sudden, just like turn it on. I mean, she was losing the fight, I thought, and then just, turned it on and was able to win her debut via stoppage. That was like a year and a half ago almost. But then she wasn't able to do it against Helen Peralta, who just steamrolled her, honestly. And I don't think that height and reach advantage is going to mean much against Odessa. So I'm going to take Melissa Odessa to win this one. So then we have the beginning of the strawweight tournament. Now, they drew the bouts during the weigh-ins, which they didn't even release a video this time. I'm really disappointed with it. Invicta's promotional abilities lately. Usually they have the weigh-in and then they release a video. They used to do them live. Now then they went to, instead of live, they did recording. Now they're not even recording them anymore. But they drew for the fights at the weigh-ins. No one knew who they were fighting. Jonathan Campos, whatever that is. So the first fight we're going to see is going to be UFC veteran Gloria DePaula taking on Dana White Contender Series veteran Karolina Wojcik. As you can see, there's going to be a big size difference here. Whether or not that will play a big factor remains to be seen. One thing is that DePaula did not have a chance to train for the size advantage. Of course, Wojcik didn't have a chance to train for the disadvantage. So that's going to play a factor. But let's go ahead and take a look at the stats first. Glorinia coming in at 6-5. The Polish Assassin coming in at 9-2. Look at that nice winning streak Karolina Wojcik has. Last fought 3 months ago. Picked up a unanimous decision on the Contender Series. DePaula last fought just under 5 months ago. Dropped a split decision to Maria Oliveira in the UFC before getting cut. She went 1-3 overall in the promotion. They're the same age, 27 years old. DePaula has a 3-inch height advantage, 5 feet 3 inches, 165 centimeters to 5 feet 2 inches, 157 centimeters for Wojcik. And DePaula has the height or the reach advantage as well, 67.5 inch, 171 centimeters, 62.2 inches, 158 centimeters for Wojcik. I'm taking Wojcik to win this one. DePaula really impressed me when she fought back in the Contender Series, and I got really high on her. And that came back to bite me big time. She is absolutely underperformed ever since then. Whereas Wojcik has been on a tear, 4-fight winning streak. Didn't get picked up for the Contender Series, but I thought she performed really well, and she had a hurt foot too. I think Wojcik's going to be able to outpoint DePaula en route to a decision. We'll see. You know, with these tournaments, anything can happen. And even if you win, it doesn't necessarily mean you get to move on. But I'm taking Karolina Wojcik via decision. Then we move on to the other tournament semifinal bout. Valesca Machado taking on Ediana Silva. So we got 3 Brazilians in this tournament and 1 European fighter. But you know, when this tournament got announced, I saw Valesca Machado in there, and I remember her performance against Lightning Liz Tracy, or is it Lightning Liz Tracy? No, Liz the Titan Tracy in her last bout, which was very recently. And I thought she's going to be a lot of people's early favorite in this tournament. And Silva's a complete newcomer to Invicta. I don't think she's ever fought outside of Brazil at all. So looking at the stats, Tina Black, Valesca Machado coming in at 10-3. Mel Pitbull coming in at 12-2. So Machado fought on a Contender Series, dropped a unanimous decision to Piera Rodriguez, but since then she's won 2 straight, a submission win back in Brazil, and then a decision over Liz Tracy a month and a half ago. So fought very recently. Ediana Silva, she's on, I believe, a really nice win streak. Hasn't lost since October of 2020 and has fought 1, 2. So she's on a 7-fight win streak since then. Most recently fought 4 months ago in LFA, picking up a decision win. Silva is the younger fighter, 20-27 for Machado, although both are still obviously young. Looks like Tina Black's going to be slightly taller at 5 feet 4 inch, 162 centimeters to 5 feet 3 inches, 160 centimeters for Silva, and then slight reach advantage as well. 63.5 inch, 161 centimeters for Machado to 62 inch, 157 centimeters for Silva. I'll be honest, I don't know anything about Silva. She could surprise me. She could, and I've been surprised before by fighters that I don't know enough about and haven't had time to watch tape on. But, man, you look at the strength of opposition that Silva mostly has fought. Your best wins are over a 5-0 fighter when you're 7-2, which is a good win. That was against Irene Oliveira. And then her last win against Amanda Torres at LFA. And that was a competitive fight. And that was against someone who was 8-5 at the time. And Silva was 11-2. I think I like Machado's speed. I like her aggressiveness. So I'm going to go with Valeska Machado to win this one. So then we have the lone reserve bout, which will be in the strawweight division. One championship veteran, Mahia Mazar, taking on Bellator veteran Danny McCormick. So we have two fighters that have fought in big shows. Now coming back to downwards a step, fighting in Invicta, but it's not a competition-wise. It's really not a step down for these ladies. It's not at all. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stats here. So they've got them reversed from the picture, but McCormick coming in at 5-2, Mazar coming in at 8-4. Now McCormick has lost her last two. She last fought for, I want to call it Centurion. Lost a split decision to Manuela Marcaneto 4 months ago. Before that, she fought in Bellator, got knocked out by Stephanie Page 7 months ago. Mazar is coming off a win in Combate Global 4 months ago against Florhani. Before that, she had been fighting. She had like 3 fights in one championship, and went 1-2 there. Don't have an age available for Mahia Mazar on Tapology. McCormick is 32. McCormick slightly taller at 5'4", 163 centimeters to 5'3", 160 centimeters for Mazar. No reach listed for Mazar on Tapology. McCormick at 61.5 inches, 156 centimeters. This one's a mystery for me. I mean, McCormick hasn't looked good her last 2 fights. Mazar's having mixed results lately. This one to me is a toss-up. This is definitely a toss-up fight. Now, the winner of this fight could get into the tournament if one of the winners of the semifinals has to bow out. Could. I don't know what the rules are exactly, but I mean, that's the whole point of a reserve. But yeah, this one to me is a toss-up. I don't feel comfortable making a pick here. So then we have a bantamweight bout. We've got I think a pair of bantamweight bouts on this card. Yeah. Just to add in some mix so it's not all strawweight action. But we've got Claire Guthrie taking on Bridget Chase. Now, Bridget Chase has never fought Invicta before, but her sister, I can't think of her sister's name. Her sister has fought for Invicta a few times before. Hope Chase, Hurricane Hope Chase, who's 3-1. Of course, Chase hasn't fought since 2020. But and Khan has fought all 3 times since then. Bridget Chase, I should say. Guthrie, of course, is an Ultimate Fighter Season 30 veteran with the flyweight. Flyweight, yeah, the flyweight division. I think she got eliminated in the first round against what's her name, Juliana Miller. Anyway, let's look at the stats on this one. So the Grizzly Guthrie coming in at 3-1. Bridget Chase also coming in at 3-1. Of course, Chase riding 3 straight wins. Last fought a year and 2 months ago. Picked up a stoppage win at B2 Fighting Series over Griffin Fisk. Guthrie hasn't officially fought in a year and a half almost. Picked up a decision win over Juliana Miller. Of course, she was on The Ultimate Fighter earlier this year, where she lost in the first round to Juliana Miller. So Miller got that win back. But Guthrie is technically riding 2 straight wins into this fight. Chase is the younger fighter by 2 years. She's 25. Guthrie is 27. Guthrie slightly taller at 5'6", 168 centimeters to 5'5", 165 centimeters for Chase. No reach listed for Bridget Chase. 70 inches, 178 centimeters is the listed reach for Claire Guthrie. I'm taking Chase to win this one. When Guthrie got that win against Miller, it was very contentious. A number of people thought she didn't deserve to win it. And then we saw what happened in the Ultimate Fighter house. She lost straight away to Miller. And that's not taking anything away from Miller. It's just Miller's like either scraping by or not at all. Now, Chase, I'll admit, I haven't really watched a whole lot of tape on her. And I might just be favoring her because, you know, she's out of Pittsburgh, which is near where I live. But that's that. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm going with Bridget Chase to win. So we have another bantamweight bout. Katarina Leonard taking on Toledo Bernardo. So we have another Ultimate Fighter veteran. Leonard fought in the season. She fought up at featherweight for the featherweight season that produced almost nobody of note. Macy Chasson won that season, if I remember correct, and that was it. Then Bernardo is a UFC veteran herself, an actual UFC veteran. So we've got some fighters with some names here. Oof! Look at these stats though: 7-3 for Leonard. Bernardo coming in at 8-4. Leonard is on a 3-fight losing streak. Let me pull up topology here. All right, so Leonard, her most recent fight was 2 years ago. She dropped a decision to Sinead Kavanaugh in Bellator. Before that, her last fight was 3 years, 4 months ago. Dropped a decision to Lisa Verzosa. And before that was 4 years, 6 months ago. Dropped a decision to, or a submission, got submitted by Sarah Kaufman. So aside from that stint on The Ultimate Fighter, Kavanaugh has been really inactive lately. Bernardo, though, has been much more active now. In the last year and 3 months, she's fought twice. She picked up a decision win over Lucia Pudilova a year and 3 months ago over in Octagon in Czech Republic. And then just under 4 months ago, she picked up a submission win over Yana Gadela via rear naked choke. Now, Bernardo is the older fighter at 35-32 for Leonard. Leonard is the taller of the two at 5'6", 168 centimeters to 5'4", 163 centimeters for Bernardo. The reach is reversed, though. 68 inches, 173 centimeters for Bernardo to 67 inches, 170 centimeters for Leonard. Got to go with Bernardo here. Just the activity alone, the recent activity alone makes you want to pick Bernardo. But also, Bernardo is not afraid to make a fight boring. She will go for takedowns nonstop, and once she gets them, she will achieve positional dominance and stay just active enough to keep the fight on the ground. She is not afraid to stink up the joint, which is what she did against Lucia Pudilova. Now, she can finish, too. She's not a bad finisher. But I got to respect that grind mindset of Bernardo, that she will be boring if it takes being boring in order to win this bout. And Leonard, I haven't seen her in a while. You know, she might have made a lot of improvements in that time. We just don't know. Just don't know. So I'm going to go with Bernardo to win. So then the main event will be the championship final of the strawweight tournament to decide the new Invicta FC strawweight champion. Now, I picked Karolina Wojcik on the far right there and Talita Bernardo to get to the finals. If those two fight, I lean towards Machado, but I've been a fan of Wojcik for a long time, so it makes it really hard to pick. But also, that's assuming that it's those two that get into the finals. Don't know. Don't know who's going to make it into those finals. But I think I really like this format of this tournament. As long as these four ladies actually make them interesting fights, I will be happy. Because 3 5-minute rounds for each fight, we could have 2 boring decisions and then a boring decision between ladies who are exhausted in the finals. So I think it actually really behooves each lady to finish early in these fights. Finish early, avoid wearing yourself out, avoid an injury. And then you have more time before the final to recover and rest. I hope that's what happens. I really hope that this tournament goes off good. And then we might see more like this, instead of the typical Phoenix tournament, which Combate Global does that same format where you have 1 round semifinal, 1 round quarterfinals, 1 round semifinals, and then, a 3-round final. We have what? A 3-round semifinal and a 3-round final. I like this format. I hope it turns out good. I really hope it turns out good. But yeah, this could end up not going well. Fingers crossed, everybody. But that's it. We went over the weekend and then did a pregame for Invicta FC. Now, Invicta starts in less than 10 minutes. Easiest place it's going to be to watch it is going to be on the Invicta FC official YouTube channel. If you have Access TV, watch it on Access. Let people know that. Let Access know that people are watching it there. I don't have access to it, so I'm going to be watching on YouTube on my. I just bought a new TV, so I'm going to watch it on there. Just Wave says, great fights coming up tonight. Been excited for this card. Yeah, I'm excited too, Just Wave. Jonathan Campos, obviously Brazilian. That's what the BR stand for. Cheering for Toledo Bernardo. Says Rio de Janeiro, Baja de São João. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Toledo, Barra de São João. And Damien 666, welcome to the chat. Says, hello, greetings from Poland. So Damien 666 is, I'm guessing he's going to be cheering for Karolina Wojcik. That's who I'd like to see win. I've been watching her since she was in EFC. She had a razor-thin close fight against Cheyenne Vlismas. And then Vlismas just talked all kinds of shit afterwards. And Vlismas was then supposed to go on to fight for the title against the then champ Kiara Penko. Vlismas pulled out at the last minute due to, I guess, last minute injury or illness or something. Wojcik pulled into the fight week and beat Penko. Came in short notice and beat the champ. And then they just were yapping at each other afterwards, and they were supposed to fight each other. And then I think, if I remember right, COVID happened after that, so then neither of them got to fight each other. Vlismas got picked up by the Contender Series and is now in the UFC. Wojcik did not get picked up by the Contender Series, so her road to the UFC has been longer. Oh, we got Poland and Brazil in the chat. Jonathan Campos with the VRs. Edilberto Souza says, Vamos Brazil. Jonathan Campos says, Obrigado, meu amigo. Well, thank you for watching, Jonathan. All right, so that's it. we got a little over 5 minutes till Invicta FC. Get on YouTube and watch it. Come back here afterwards. We're going to do a recap of it live. I will start probably within like 10 to 15 minutes after the event ends. Not going to do a fight companion tonight. The TV I have now, it's too big to reposition it to watch it, I think. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to position it to watch it. So can't do a fight companion tonight. But we'll see. But go watch Invicta. We've got less than 5 minutes. 18 people watching live this stream. Please, before you go, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up. And thank you for tuning in to the pre-fight show. And thanks for watching WMMA Now. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. The best, fastest growing women's mixed martial arts dedicated platform on YouTube. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. You too, Easy E. Everybody enjoy the fights.